It's an amazing honor to be on this panel with this caliber of thinkers and people that really care about what's going to happen to our world in the future. What I want to I'm not going to make any reference point to any specific country or dollar sign or krona, because this is something I'm about to talk about that isn't present in every country around the world. And the topic is institutionalizing deliciousness. And I wanted to use the word deliciousness because as a chef, it's the most important thing to you. And but really, I want to talk about how chefs can have a positive impact on our food economy. I talk about this with friends and colleagues a lot, and it's something I could talk about for hours. And what we've kind of come to the conclusion of is that there's so many sectors within the food economy that are, and I hate to start out on a negative note, but are being run inefficiently. And it's mostly because the people that are running them at a grassroots level lack the experience with food systems and how they work. And this, like I said, this is not meant to be a stab at these people, because usually these are the people with the biggest hearts and the best intentions. And this has more to do with the resources, or should I say lack of resources, that are available to them. And I think this is a problem across the entire food chain, especially institutionally and distributionally. And recently, within the last couple of years, we've kind of got involved in this kind of process. And I just want to talk about my experience personally with this and in relation to the sectors and how it's really hit home for me. I want to talk about my experience and how I came to realize the importance of getting involved, and kind of touch on a few things I hope to improve it in the future. So, food rescue programs and their direct relationship to soup kitchens. And this is the average statistics for the average restaurant. And as a chef, you sometimes forget to lift your head up and look around. And when I started, I wasn't any different than the next chef. I was focused on executing the most delicious, most technical food I possibly could. Nothing else mattered. And I think these statistics are a direct relationship to that way of thinking. And it wasn't until I opened my own restaurant that I kind of started to look at the bigger picture. And I couldn't help but notice the amount of waste we were producing as a restaurant. It was really, really weighing heavy on my soul. And after being open for 6 months, the first 6 months I don't remember what happened. It was a blitzkrieg. And Evelyn, who was sitting in the audience, asked me the question, how do you want to move forward? What's important to you? And with that, the waste that we were producing at the restaurant took center stage in our everyday thinking. We started this journey we're on now. And I say journey because for most of us at the restaurant, it was really a new experience for us. None of us had worked in a restaurant like this. None of us had kind of switched our minds to start thinking in this way. And I think after 3 years now, we're kind of starting to see the fruits of our labor. These are the average statistics at Amass right now. We are about 20,000 kilos of waste less a year than the average restaurant. In the landfill, we've switched the numbers. Our goal was to kind of flip-flop the numbers. If going back to the last stats, it's about 84% of an average restaurant, their waste goes directly to the landfill. It's about 16% that is recycled. For us, we flipped it. We're 78% recycled and 22% going to the landfill. And we haven't quite hit the exact flip yet. I think we still have time to fix that. But I think the major thing for us, and I'm going through all this right now for you guys so you can kind of see that we do have a little bit of data to kind of back up what I'm about to say later on. But for us, we started cooking backwards. That was the most important thing for us. Instead of taking a carrot and, I have this great carrot with these nice greens, and taking a bite of the carrot, we flipped it upside down. We take a bite of the greens first. how can we take these greens and turn them into something delicious? What is not delicious about these that people don't like and don't want to eat? Once we kind of switched our way of thinking, it became somewhat of a sport at the restaurant. The staff is constantly trying to outdo each other, and what can we take? How can we take the skin of this fish and make it into an oil, or this or that? So it's quite, the energy in the kitchen in regards to this way of thinking is quite amazing. And you know, it's one thing for us to be doing this at our restaurant, but after a couple of years of doing this, I started to realize that this knowledge and information is something that could potentially have an impact on not only the restaurant industry, but on the food economy worldwide. And after this, I started thinking, okay, we're doing this internally. What is the most immediate outlet for us to kind of start collaborating with? And we started to collaborate with soup kitchens. We started to connect with food rescue programs. And we've done a few food rescue programs, or should I say pop-ups ourselves. And this was just to kind of test the waters at what are the logistics of this? How do we get food from here to here and process it efficiently? I was really, really lucky enough to be involved with Massimo Bottura's Food for Soul project. Massimo Bottura, those of you who don't know, he is a chef from Italy in Modena, has a 3 Michelin star restaurant, and this year was awarded the best restaurant in the world. And an amazing human being, huge heart. And he did this project, Food for Soul. The first one was in Milan. And this is a project that we basically rescued all the leftover food from the World Expo in Milan last year. Every morning at 9 o'clock, a food truck showed up full of food. And as chefs, we were forced to think on our feet and create a meal for 80 homeless people that very same night. And this whole process really got me thinking that how can chefs now be involved in the everyday running of food kitchens? And it showed me that to run food kitchens efficiently, you really do need to be able to think on your toes. You need to be able to take a product and process it as efficiently as you can. And aside from being able to think on your toes and process these products coming in efficiently, it really showed me that you need the proper facilities to do this. You need proper storage. You need proper cooking facilities. And of course, it was Massimo Bottura, so we had great facilities working with him. But in all the other soup kitchens that I've been involved with, the facilities are quite dismal. You don't have proper storage. A lot of the food coming in, you can't process. And so it's really about the resources that we have to look at that are available to these food kitchens, as well as educating the people running these kitchens. And I mean, I think there are a lot of right and wrong things about this. The people are the right thing. Like I said, they have the best intentions. They want to do the right thing. But I think the resources that are available to them are the wrong thing. And this is something we really, really have to start addressing. And when I say the people, I think the biggest thing with the people is that we need to start educating these people that are running these food systems, or these food rescue programs and soup kitchens. I mean, you could be standing there, and I saw this firsthand. We did a collaboration with something called Rub and Stub in the city here, and you're standing there and 1 ton of carrots is donated to you. If you have no experience or little experience in processing food, you look at this ton of carrots and it's Mount Everest. What are we gonna do with these carrots? 300 liters of milk came in. I mean, as an experienced chef, I looked at 300 liters of milk, and I said, oh man, what are we gonna do with this? First of all, the first thing I said is, where are we gonna store this? The fridge they had was barely bigger than my arms could reach. So the facilities are something we need to address. And the biggest thing that I saw is that, you know, we worked with them once, and then I came back to visit them a few times, and the carrots really intrigued me, because a ton of carrots is so much. I think we get a ton of carrots into the restaurant in like 6 months. It's to come all at once. You're just overwhelmed. And then it made me kind of realize that, no, this is actually part of the problem. A ton of carrots comes in. Half of them end up going to the garbage. So in essence, you just end up transporting waste around the city as opposed to utilizing the waste transported to one area. Resources are being wasted in that process. You end up wasting valuable resources. You end up wasting fuel, emissions, time, money, all these things. And the whole system just breaks down. The core meaning of this food rescue just breaks down completely. And then so as I realized, as chefs, we have the knowledge to help prevent this from happening. We have the knowledge to make things extremely efficient and in the long term save money on the transport of waste being moved around the city. And saving money is on everyone's agenda, I assume. So this saved money, but you're gonna spend it, don't worry. This saved money on transport, I really think could be used on creating a better network for intercepting this food and redistributing to soup kitchens and other, it doesn't have to stop at soup kitchens, it could be other institutions around the city. In addition to the logistics of the project, these projects, the network that we as chefs have as a community is invaluable. I know for a fact that any one of my friends in the city that have restaurants would be more than willing to donate their excess food, their excess trim. And believe me, high-end restaurants produce a lot of excess trim. But to do this, we need to come up with a logistical solution to collect this potential product and redistribute it. And this shouldn't have to cost too much money, like I mentioned before. I think the most important is about redistributing budgets. We need to make this, I think we just need to start working this into the equation if we really want to start utilizing the food that we have. And of course I'm naive to a lot of this stuff and the policy making, but I think a lot of this policy making is going to involve defining what is safe and what is not safe to serve in these soup kitchens and other institutions of this kind of redistributed food. But what I do think is really important is that chefs become involved in this policy making, because we have our hands are on food every day. We touch it. We know what you can and cannot serve. I think it's really important. But I think what's most important is that a lot of this needs to happen at the grassroots level, i.e. getting chefs involved. And I think it's more important that it happens at the grassroots level and kind of flows upstream than from the upper echelons in government downstream, because I think a lot is missed in that model. What I'm really trying to say here is that I really think that governments need to start tapping into our knowledge, tapping into our industry to create policies that maximize the food that we have available to us already, instead of pushing policies that create excess food that's going to go straight to the landfill. I think we need your political support, both monetarily, institutionally, in making food efficiency and food security a priority in legislation. This is not just to provide food for what we need now, but food for the future. And in addition to all this, there's the human and social value that we need to look at. Restaurants provide this on a daily basis. We feed people on a soul level, on a mental level, as well as physically. And I think that people coming to these soup kitchens, these are the people that need that. They need this mental nourishment. And can you imagine if we could actually apply this to other institutions? And this is kind of my long-term goal. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that chefs and governments, we need to meet halfway. Chefs need to kind of open up to new things and look at projects on a long-term level, not just doing a charity event or a cause here and there. And I think once we kind of meet in the middle, I think we're truly going to realize the potential of institutionalizing deliciousness. Thank you very much.